First of all, it is so good to have you here. Now, if you're anything like me, so I'm a gay man in midlife, I'm fast approaching 50, you've probably spent your whole life being somebody that other people wanted you to be. Whether that was the good son, the good student, the funny friend, you got the good job, the good career. And you know what? To some extent, it worked. You've got a great job title, you've got a decent salary, you've got a lovely home, you've got friends, you go on nice holidays a couple of times a year. And part of you thinks, do you know what? I should feel grateful for this. But inside, something just doesn't feel right. You get to your 40s and 50s and something feels off. And quite frankly, you are exhausted and knackered. You feel stuck. And a lot of the time, it's because you've been on a conveyor belt that you couldn't get off. Whether that was from childhood, going through school, going to university, getting the career, getting a mortgage, all in an effort to fit in and be accepted in a world that never really understood us. And it still doesn't. And all that time, we've been wearing masks, hiding who we truly are, because we're terrified of being found out, for people really seeing us for who we really are. Look, I knew from a very young age that I was different, especially in comparison to my older brother and to the other boys at school. I just knew that I was a very different kind of boy. And all through my childhood, and I think through my teenage years, there was always this bubbling undercurrent of, oh my God, I'm going to be found out at some point. They're going to find out I'm gay and I'm going to get rejected. Whether that's my family, my friends, and society in general, or in the workplace. And particularly because of the hangover of growing up in the 80s and 90s when, quite frankly, it was not a good time to be gay. We went straight from hiding to performing, and somewhere in the middle of all that, we skipped a bit where we got to just be ourselves. So we might be in our 40s and 50s now, and to the outside world, it might look like we've totally got our shit together. But we're still carrying a lot of this emotional and mental weight, and potentially a lot of physical weight too. I know for myself, I found comfort in food when I had quite a bad coming out experience, and that resulted in me putting on a lot of weight, and I yo-yo dieted for years, so much so that I had a bad relationship with food and my body. And I know that a lot of gay guys get to middle age and they just let their bodies go. Things start to feel a bit heavy, a little bit squishy, a little bit soft. We don't quite like who we see in the mirror. I've been that guy. And on top of that, as gay men, our bodies, our youth, they were valued as currency for so long. But when you get to middle age, they start to devalue and you feel yourself fading into the background because you don't have that youth anymore and your body isn't playing the part that it maybe once did. And so you're not getting the validation in the gay world and you're not getting seen in the straight world. And so you don't really know who you are anymore. And that's if you did in the first place. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of doom and gloom, and I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. Because there comes a point, I think, in middle age, and it might be because you might see your parents getting older, you might see friends starting to get sick and maybe passing away, that you realize just how short life is and how important it is that we need to make the best of what we've got. And you just go, fuck it, bollocks to all of that. I'm done living for other people. I'm done caring what other people think of me. And it's time to start living for yourself. And I don't care if that sounds selfish, because it can actually come from a place of kindness. And first of all, kindness to yourself. So I'm Stephen, and I've built The Undeniable Gay because I've been exactly where you are. Overweight, exhausted, going through the motions of life rather than actually living it. I built a life built on other people's approval, always chasing validation, whether that's from other gay men, whether it's from strangers, whether it's from family, whether it's from people at work. But a few years ago, I decided I was done with all of that. And I want you to know, the guys I work with, we're not broken. We're just ready to stop drifting, ready to stop living for other people, and ready to start becoming the men that we want to become and to live the life that we actually want. Now, so many of us, when we hit midlife, we start a bit of a self-development journey, trying to find out who we are. And we buy all the self-help books, we listen to the podcasts, we might start some courses, never finish them, and they might do, a 12-week fitness challenge. But all of that feels a little bit empty, like a little bit short-term, a little bit quick fix, always searching for the answer. And it's all well and good doing the thinking. But when do you actually take action? When do you actually start doing and becoming that man? And a lot of guys do therapy, and that's great. But therapy is focused on the past. And what I do with my coaching is much more focused on the present and thinking about the future. We don't need to live in the past. So we're not spending months trying to unpack what happened to you. So we're looking at who you are right now and what you're going to do about it. And fundamental to all of this, and I think a lot of coaches actually miss this part, is the physical side of things. So many gay coaches will tell you that you don't need to have an aesthetic goal, that it's not healthy for you, and it's all very body positive. And that's nice. However, we are human. We want to feel hot. We want to look and feel good. We want to feel desired. And so I actually think it's much more truthful and much more honest to have an aesthetic goal, but it has to come from a different place. So in the past, you might have done it for the validation of strangers and other gay men. But if you do it for yourself, that is something different. That's much more powerful. But we're human, and it's okay to want to look and feel good naked. It's okay to want to feel hot. It is okay to want to be desired. Who doesn't want to feel like a hot daddy or a silver fox? So what I would say is it has to come from a place of inner confidence and not from a place of almost desperation and from approval and validation from other people, like you might have been doing in your 20s and 30s. I know I did that. In midlife, you do it because you want to get fitter, you want to get leaner, you want to get stronger, not only because it's good for old age, we need to be healthy, but also because it gives you that inner confidence, this inner power that makes you stand taller and stand out. So yes, we start with your body, and it's not just for aesthetics. It is about getting you fitter, it's about getting you stronger, it's about getting you leaner. And with all of that, it gives you such a good physical foundation that you have more energy. You think clearer, you act differently, you make better decisions, and quite frankly, you stop tolerating all the shit that you've had to put up with for years. You become more resilient, especially because you've proven to yourself that you can do this. And so many guys in midlife who are maybe carrying too much weight are just feeling so lethargic that they think that is normal to have low energy levels. Let me tell you, it's not. We're meant to have energy. Even in midlife, it's not just a symptom of, oh, getting older. And then we get into your head, the mindset, and we look at all the patterns, the self-talk, the self-sabotage, the all or nothing mindset, the people-pleasing, the perfectionism, all of which I think so many gay men relate to because we've fallen back on that in an attempt to stay safe and feel accepted. Who are you when you stop performing for everyone else? Then we get into your identity. And for me, this is such a key part. And it was a huge part of my transformation. And this is where it gets different to anything else that's out there. Because this isn't about layering more stuff on top, more strategies, more frameworks, more self-help. This is in some way about stripping things away, taking off those masks, the versions of yourself that you were just performing for decades, and stripping away the life that was built for other people's approval. And a massive part of this is digging into your core values, finding out who you actually are, what you stand for, what makes you tick. Because a lot of us have never actually sat down and worked out, what we actually stand for, because we've been living up to other people's values, whether that's our family's values, whether it's society's values, what's expected of us in the workplace, what's expected of us in the gay world. And we've never had the opportunity to kind of sit and go, is this what I stand for? Is this what I believe? And we've been living a life built on other people's foundations. And we absorbed all of that. And we built lives without actually thinking, is this really mine? So we dig deep. We look into what makes you tick, what gives you energy, what makes you excited. What don't you like? What don't you want to accept anymore? And you know what? Once you've got that clarity on knowing and understanding what is actually yours, you can start making decisions for you based on that. So it's not from a place of approval seeking. It's not from a place of keeping other people happy. It is from a place within you, deep down in your bones. You know who you are. Well, I want you to know that underneath all of those masks, underneath all of that heaviness, that emotional and physical weight, is a guy worth knowing, and I want to help you find him. And then we get into your mission, and this is about having a purpose, having a bit of drive. What do you actually want from life? What do you want from the next few decades? How do we make these really count? And more importantly, how do we go after it and actually make it happen? So it's body, it's mind, it's identity, it's mission. This is what the undeniable gay is all about. It is completely holistic. It's a 360 view of you. And the guys who do this, they don't just lose weight, they gain clarity, they gain an inner confidence. And with that inner self belief that they've gained, they carry themselves differently. They've got a different energy. They walk into rooms differently. They have a presence and they have magnetism. Because someone who knows who they are deep down, who knows what they stand for, who has the courage to live the life that they actually want, that is so charismatic. That is magnetic. And to me, that is what real attractiveness looks like. That is sexy. That is hot daddy energy. So instead of fading away in midlife or, God forbid, becoming a bitter old queen, you become a man who walks into a room and knows that he belongs there. And it's not because you're being loud or being a dick or anything like that. People notice you because you have this quiet inner confidence, this drive. You know who you are, and that draws people to you. We all know guys like that are so charismatic, and you can be one of them. So I've built this specifically for gay men because I do think that we experience life differently to other guys. We learn from a really young age how to hide, how to cope, how to walk into a room and read that room within seconds. How do I stay safe here? Who do I need to be? And the shame we've carried from that, I think it needs its own space. It needs to be front and center. And that's why I've built the undeniable gay. So it's about getting you fitter, it's about getting you stronger, it's about getting you leaner, it's about getting you more energy. It's about getting you that hot body that you've always wanted, but from a place that's for you and not for other people. It's about stripping away all of that that was never yours in the first place and starting to see who is the guy underneath all of that, who is the man you want to become, and then giving you the tools and setting actions in place so you actually become that man and start living the life that you want to live. So if you're sitting there going, oh my God, that's me, good. Have a look around, and when you're ready, let's talk.